I just want to give you my 2 cents on why I feel many relationships are not working. And maybe that's just because these are the type of clients that come to me, being someone who's 56, been working with relationships for a long time. I guess I tend to attract individuals of similar profiles, like in terms of being, in a career and also trying to manage their lives at home um, post 50, which is, back in the day, perhaps you would have been retired by now. And back in the day, you probably wouldn't have adult children living with you. And back in the day, now because of longevity, we're taking care of our parents in many ways as well because people are living longer. So I feel that a lot of couples are just losing the plot. In other words, I mean, if you've heard of that term before, it's kind of like I missed the whole point. It's watching a play, watching a story, watching a movie, and somewhere you zoned out and you kind of forgot what the whole movie was about, what the whole storyline was about, like who are the main characters and what exactly are they trying to attain? And really that's where a lot of marriages are right now. And I think one of the biggest reasons is because yes, the busyness of life. Like, I don't know about you, but something that drives me crazy is hearing how everybody's so busy. Um, I personally like to leave room in my schedule because, well, today was a great example. I mean, somebody, messaged me about 3 hours ago saying, "Can I see you today?" Actually, yeah, you can see me today. And I don't charge more. It's not like booking a flight at the last minute, you know? It's the same price. And could I potentially I don't see it wasting time either. It's like it's not like I sit around and wonder, oh, okay, now what I'm gonna I allotted this hour and no one has booked. It's sort of like as a business owner, if you can relate, there's always something to do. And I don't like feeling stressed. I don't like what it does to my body. Um, I don't like what it does to my emotions. I snap at people a lot easier when I'm stressed. I'm not as kind and I'm not as considerate and all the other things that go along with it. I can tell it in my neck right away because my shoulders are like this most of the time. It's like I'm just waiting for something to happen. It's like I'm on the alert. I even type that way when I'm stressed. It's like, okay, wait a minute here. So, anyway, the reason why couples are struggling, again, I feel, is because they're missing the plot in terms of they forgot what the story, the storyline is not what they thought it was. Their relationship is playing out quite differently, which is normal, which is totally normal because we can't predict the future, right? Like we live in a world of uncertainty. As much as we try to micromanage our worlds, that's not what happened. I mean, I met with a man this morning and we're working on his relationship and he didn't tell me this in the first session, but he just said, "Oh yeah, our daughter got lymphoma, um, cancer when she was 20." And I mean, no, yeah, you forgot to leave. I mean, you left that out last time, like, and that's kind of important, right? It's like these things weigh on a relationship. How can they not? Um, so, but if you always remind yourself what is the long-term goal here, like what's the end, um Where do we see ourselves from 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now? Like, I think when you're dating and you're in that honeymoon stage, I mean, I hear it all the time. Couples are talking about how, um, oh yeah, we're both so aligned in our visions and where we want to go. But again, life happens, things change, and you become very, very distracted from the vision as a couple. And it's not only that vision that you've forgotten your own personal vision. Or maybe you didn't even have one to begin with, which is a really bad idea. Everybody needs to have a vision for where they want to go, who they want to become, long term, but even in the short term, because it allows you to be very intentional about your day. I'm creating a planner right now, part of my mixing business with pleasure. Um, I just sort of at the PDF stage, meaning, I'm not sending it into the printers yet, but like every single morning, I remind myself of what my week's goal is. And I check in with my emotions every single morning. Gratitude is very important, but intentionality like that, it's just sort of reminding yourself. And you could have a reminder every single morning of where my relationship vision is, but like your goals change, and you know the actions to reach that goal change on a day-to-day basis. I don't think on a weekly basis, I think you should just have one goal, and what are the action steps towards that goal. um and your goals can change in your relationship too. Like, for example, with that man whose daughter had cancer, they found out at the age of 20. um that week's goal is probably very different from his previous week's goal. His previous week's goal could have been centered on his business. And this week's goal is to keep the family together, and what are the action steps I need to do today in order to meet my weekly goal. So, I mean, that's getting like quite detailed, but my overall message today to you is just that we have to remind ourselves, especially when things get really yucky and messy in our relationship. What was our vision when we started off, and how has that changed? You know, and I don't really mean retirement age or something like that, because the economy changes and careers change, and like an example, your child becomes sick. I mean, these can all be delays. And then it could be really positive things too. I mean, somebody won a lottery, somebody got like this huge promotion, somebody had a startup business and it skyrocketed, like, I mean, oh, now retirement is like today. And so, but I don't mean those types of visions, although it's very important in your day-to-day tasks. I mean, where do we see ourselves as a couple, not as a parent, not as a caregiver to your parent, um, not in my career, the relationship, that that sacrament of marriage, that vow that you made with one another in front of a community of people. And people have got married in the church in front of a priest or a minister, um, in front of God. So where is that? Like, are you still committed in that way, to attaining that vision that you had for one another, till death do you part? That is what I'm talking about. How often have you reminded yourself of that during disputes, during, indifferences that you had? during your challenges, right? How often have you remind yourself of that? And I think the personal visions can very much change. You know, I thought I was going to be a stay-at-home mom, and I realized, you know what, I'm very passionate about this certain area, as a vocation, and I want to follow that more. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's what I'm all about, is harmonizing what I personally feel are four different vocations that we have in life. You shouldn't think of, I'm only going to be having one vocation. There's four. And the four vocations for me are, I'll do it in order of importance, and this is could be hard for people, but number one is my vocation as like through my faith and a believer of God. It's the most important thing, because everything I have to me is through him. Secondly, to my partner. Um, and a lot of people get this wrong. They feel, you know, my parents have done so much for me. I mean, they're my number one priority. No, they're not. My children are everything for me. That was my number one goal in life, was to be a mother. Uh, no, it's not your number one priority in life, is to be a parent. A very important one, but your number one priority in the family unit is towards your partner. And I don't mean in an obedience sense of the word, you know, especially for women. It's more of, equal respect, and a team. We're a team. It's not an I, but a we. It's always a we. So I'll leave it at that. By the way, I am getting more and more interested in making smaller videos. I know I have Mixing Business with Pleasure podcast, where you're always going to find the entire, episode there on my YouTube channel. But I I love visual. I learn best from visual, and I think that's what I love about YouTube. It's visual. I love it. Um, so if you prefer more of this, and especially if you're not one to be on social media, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever else there is out there, like, then if this is your jam, being on YouTube, yeah, let me know. I appreciate any comments. I'm really dedicated to my subscribers, and I love YouTube. I love YouTube. So let me know. Hope this helped.